allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Linda, can we get the roll call?
Kiefhofer.
Here.
DeHaven.
Here.
Ruhl.
Here.
Rainey.
Here.
Yazzie.
Here.
Dobry.
Here.
Medina.
Here. All right, we have a quorum tonight. And then do we have approval of the agenda or any amendments needed?
Madam Mayor, I make a motion to set the agenda for April 23rd, 2024.
Second.
Motion made by Yazzie and seconded by DeHaven.
DeHaven.
Aye.
Yazzie.
Aye.
Rainey.
Aye.
Dobry.
Aye.
Kiefhofer.
Aye.
Ruhl.
Yes.
Medina.
Aye. All right, we're going to move on to number 2 on our agenda, the consent agenda. The listing under consent agenda is a group of items to be acted on with a single motion and vote. This agenda is designed to expedite the handling of limited routine matters by City Council. Either the public or a council member may request that an item may be removed from the consent agenda at the time prior to council's vote. After reading the consent agenda, I'll ask if a citizen or council member wishes to have any specific from the consent agenda for discussion. A, approval of the council special meeting / work session and agenda minutes for April 9th, 2024. B, approval of the expenditure list for April 23rd, 2024. C, approval of a renewal retail marijuana store license for Mountain Annie's LLC located at 310 East Main Street, Cortez. D, approval of a renewal fermented malt beverage and wine liquor license for Worldwide Restaurant Corporation, DBA Pizza Hut of Cortez, located at 1119 East Main Street, Cortez. E, approval of a renewal fermented malt beverage and wine liquor license for Esmeralda's Ranchito Mexican Store, located at 2501 East Main Street, Cortez. And F, approval of a renewal hotel and restaurant liquor license with one option premise for Rodowski Golf LLC, DBA Conquistador Golf Course, located at 2018 North Dolores Road, Cortez. And G, approval of a special event permit application for Habitat of Humanity of Montezuma County to host a fundraiser event on Friday, May 3rd, 2024 on the premises of the Cortez Area Chamber of Commerce located at 20 West Main Street, Cortez. Would anyone like to see something come off the agenda for discussion or approve as presented?
Madam Mayor, I move that council approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Motion made by Dobry and seconded by Rainey.
Yazzie.
Aye.
Kiefhofer.
Aye.
Dobry.
Aye.
Ruhl.
Yes.
DeHaven.
Aye.
Rainey.
Aye.
Medina.
Aye. All right, we're going to move on to 3 on our agenda, public participation. There is no limit to number of speakers, although public comment will be held to an overall time limit of 30 minutes for this first session. Speakers have a time limit of 3 minutes per person, may only speak once, and may not cede time to another commenter. And for commenters, we do have these comment cards. And then we also, for the 3 minutes, we have a visual indicator showing when you have 1 minute left, when you have 30 seconds left, and then when your time is up. All right, thank you. I'd like to invite Mara Backstrom. And then make sure your mic is on and just start with your name and address.
Okay.
And then this is our clock too to help folks.
Okay. Hi, my name is Mara Backstrom, and I'm actually out on the county, 21198 Road V6 in Lewis, Colorado. I'm here tonight on behalf of the board, parents, and the swimmers of the Cortez Water Dragon swim team. We want to express our frustration and disappointed that the rec center doesn't employ enough lifeguards to support in pool practices. Our season started in April 1st and runs until the first weekend in August. We have been working with the rec center staff and Drew Sanders to come up with a plan to get in the water as soon as possible. However, due to the current situation, best case scenario is May 13th, but very likely maybe May 27th. We have swim meets on May 4th, June 1st, and our local swim meet on June 7th. We are losing about a third of our season and will not have been in the water potentially at all for the first couple of meets. There are only 6 meets in which to qualify for the state meet. We want to bring this to light, how the lack of lifeguards has negatively impacted our swim family. We are tasked with keeping our swimmers and convincing them that they will actually get to swim. And at some point, we have been doing dryland practices at the rec center on the lawn. Please, I've got letters that are actually from coaches, parents, and swimmers that I would like to give to the city council to have you guys read those. We would like for you to consider what can be done different in the future to allow our rec center to be the tremendous asset that it should be.
Great, thank you. All right, I'd like to invite Steve Heath to speak.
Greetings, Council. Thanks for having me. My name is Steve Heath, and I've been involved in retail in Montezuma County in the Cortez area for about 25 years. Currently, I'm employed at Slavin's True Value, and my wife and I own Second Time Fashions. And I've noticed a trend of late that seems to be a little bit troubling. And I want to talk about a couple incidents. One incident in particular happened on Thursday, March 28th. We apprehended a shoplifter at Slavin's True Value. And it's kind of a scary process to apprehend a shoplifter. You confront them and, you know, you accuse them of this, and then you sequester them a little bit, you question them, and come to find out all of our suspicions were true. There was a person that was stealing some stuff. So upon finding this out, we made a call to dispatch of City of Cortez Police. And we told them the story. We said, we had a shoplifter, we caught him here, and the police dispatch said, well, what was it? And we said, well, it was a couple of keys. They said, well, how much was it? And we said, well, it was about $12. And they said, $12? What do you want us to do? And we were a little bit puzzled. We're like, well, we want you to come down and write a ticket and trespass them. And so they said, well, okay, we'll see if we can't get an officer down there. And so the officer got down there, and the officer questioned the suspect for a couple seconds, and then came out and spoke with myself and another associate of mine and said, well, I don't understand what you want us to do. Do you want us to write a ticket for $12? And we were like, yeah, we want you to write a ticket for $12. And they said, well, you know, we'll never be able to prove this in court. And I said, well, I don't want you to prove it in court. You know, I just want this ticket to be on this person's record because this is shoplifting. And I was a little bit shocked at the officer's response because we had done all the work. We had apprehended the person. We had told them everything that had happened. All we were asking is for them to fight crime at that point. And it seemed as though $10 or $12 was too little of an amount for them to worry about. And I think it's troublesome to me. I think we need to make sure that we are fighting crime at the smallest level if we're going to succeed as businesses along Main Street. Every business along Main Street worries about shoplifting from the moment they open till the moment they close. So if we could, let's make a commitment to stop retail crime and keep the businesses we have thriving. Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, I'd like to invite Dawn up. Do we have Dawn Zamora in the audience? Great.
Hello, hi. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to be here and speak for 3 minutes. I am very angry, so forgive me if I start crying and I say a cuss word. I don't know if anybody in this town has been online and read the reviews for the post office, the local fucking post office that works for me. I don't work for them. They lost my mail out on the streets with my personal information. And then the postmaster had the guts to tell me to seek therapy because I'm mad about it. What happened was I moved here in February 9th from Washington State to beautiful Colorado. I love it here. I'm so happy here. But all these other all the corruption in this small, beautiful town. So I put in 2 changes of address in Washington State. Then I get here and they made me put in 4 changes of address. I did that. I got a letter in the mail that wanted me to go down and verify my identity. I did that too. It took over a month for my mail to start running. I was missing deadlines that were causing me extra problems. Then the next issue that I had is my key wouldn't open my door or on my mailbox outside, that public mailbox. The 4th day that I tried to use the key, it got stuck in an open position where I couldn't secure my mail. It was just open out there on the street. I went down to the post office in person, got in line, told them that it was wide open. 2 days went by, the weekend went by, Monday went by, Tuesday I walked out there to check my mail. It was wide open and the mailman had been delivering mail the whole time. I immediately called them. He came to my house. He spent 2 seconds trying the lock, turned around, told me I had the wrong key, demanded that I cough up $25 to buy a fucking lock for the city of Cortez. I told him if he makes me buy a lock, I'm taking it when I move. He said, "Oh no, ma'am, that's not the way it works," mumbled some shit under his breath, and left me standing there with my mailbox wide open. In the meantime, while he left, I called who I thought were the higher-ups above the post office. They wanted me to wait for 2 additional days to leave it open so this incompetent blind mailman could continue to put mail in my mailbox. So they finally decided they were going to provide a lock at no charge to me. They said, "Please come down to the post office, provide ID, and we'll give you your keys." So I did that. My very last correspondence with the postmaster of Cortez, and I don't know her name, and I don't care to know her name, she had the audacity to tell me to seek therapy because I'm mad over this. She told me that she would ask the postman if he remembered what he had delivered on those 3 days that it was wide open to the public. She has failed to tell me where my mail is and if they remember any fucking thing. She wants me to seek therapy. I want her fired. Those people work for me. I'm done.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to come up for public comment, even if you didn't fill out a card? All right, seeing none, we'll close the public participation section of our agenda, and we're going to move on to 4A in our 4 is presentations, and 4A is a thank you and a goodbye to Council Members David Rainey and Mayor Pro Tem Arlena Yazzie. I'd like to invite Council to join me on the floor in front of the dais. All right, David and Arlena, come on over. All right, so this is the end of a 4-year term for both our council members here. I was elected with them in April 2020 when, right after the world changed, and we've been through so much these last 4 years, and we appreciate your dedication, and we just want to show that appreciation and thank you for your time serving our community. Council?
It's just been such a pleasure working with you both, so thank you.
Thank you very much for serving your community. It's been a pleasure.
If you look at the wall over there, there are several pictures that I'm in. because I've served before. And I just want to say that of the people that I've served with before, these two are of the finest. They absolutely will be missed. And thank you for your service and everything that you've done for the citizens of Cortez and the Cortez City Council. Thanks.
The citizens of Cortez are better off because of these two people.
Would you guys like to say anything?
I would just like to say it's been an honor to serve for the last 4 years. And this is probably one of the best groups of people that I've ever had the privilege and honor to work with. Thank you.
Okay, I'm not good at making speeches, so I'll try to keep this short. I'm just extremely grateful to have been on this council and the previous council and everything that we've been able to accomplish in the last 4 years. And I'm closing this chapter with a great sense of pride in our city, and that stems from just the fact that we have such great leadership, we have amazing department heads, and they've all worked so hard to make this community better and to really develop that sense of community through the work that they do. And so I'm just so grateful for you all. Thank you for the trust. Thank you for all of the work that you do.
All right, so I think we'll have our council members go ahead and take their seats, but we'll keep the newly elected, and we'll move on to 4B on our agenda for the newly elected council members, and we'll get sworn in together. And you guys are welcome to take your nameplates. All right, I don't know if we want to keep.
So, because we're going to say it together. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we'll do it all.
There's mine. Okay. I was trying to have our. Who's the quietest?
So you're going to have these 4 wonderful new people, 2 that have been your for 4 and 2 years, and 2 that were just newly elected. They're going to say their oath of office for you tonight. So if you raise your right hand, please. I,
Rachel Medina, do hereby promise and affirm to support the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the State of Colorado, and the Cortez City Charter, ordinances, and resolutions. And I will faithfully perform the duties of council member to the best of my ability.
thank you. Welcome.
Thank you. All right. Oh, okay. Well, I feel like David and Arlena are leaving the city in good hands, and I'm really excited for our new combination and just see what we can do together over the next 4 years. All right, so then we're going to move on to 4C on our agenda, a nomination for mayor. Do we have any nominations?
I would like to nominate Rachel Medina for mayor. I think she's done an excellent job the last 2 years, moving the city through some really big things, helping us get out of debt, move on with our audits, helping us move forward with the land use code, and just countless small things. I've seen her put just hours of personal time and take the role of mayor seriously, showing up at opening events for new businesses, Girl Scout troop events, pretty much anyone who might want a city official or mayor present, she'll drop everything to go forward, and I think it would be good to continue that for the next 2 years.
Thank you, Lydia. Do we have any other nominations?
We need to receive a second for that motion.
I will second the motion.
Do we vote or?
Are there any more nominations?
I don't think so.
Dobry,
Aye.
Kiefhoffer,
Aye.
Aye.
Lewis. Randall,
Aye.
Brule,
Yes.
Medina.
Aye. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity for another 2 years to serve you all in this role. All right, then we'll move on to nominating for Mayor Pro Tem. Do we-
Madam Mayor, I would like to nominate Lydia DeHaven for the Mayor Pro Tem position. I've worked with Lydia on the council for the past 2 years, and I can say that she is a very serious individual who takes in information, she listens carefully, and responds accordingly. She is very much involved in the community in a variety of nonprofits, and I think that that is a really great quality. I have full confidence that in the absence of the mayor, that Lydia would be a great mayor pro tem in those situations. So I would like to nominate Lydia DeHaven.
Second.
Do we need to second before we have any other nominations?
Yes, and April Randall, second the
Okay,
motion.
okay. Do we have any other nominations?
Nominations?
Okay.
Lewis,
Yes.
Brule,
Yes.
DeHaven,
Aye.
Kiefhoffer,
Aye.
Randall,
Aye.
Dobry,
Aye.
Dina.
Aye. All right. Thank you. Okay, so then now we'll move on to E on our agenda, which is Historic Preservation Day proclamation for May 3rd and 4th, 2024.
Hello, I'm Helen West. I work for the Community and Economic Development Department for the City of Cortez, and I also assist the Historic Preservation Board. So this is pretty standard. We ask for this proclamation once a year, so here we are again. I'll just go ahead and read the memo that was presented that is also in your packets, but I think some of our new members don't have it, so I'll just read it. Each year in May, local preservation groups, state historical societies, and civic organizations across the country celebrate Historic Preservation Month through events that promote historic places and that demonstrate the social and economic benefits of historic preservation. The first National Preservation Week was celebrated on May 6th through 12th, 1973. In 2005, the celebration was extended to the entire month of May. The City of Cortez Historic Preservation Board celebrates Historic Preservation Day each year in May. This year is the 14th annual Cortez Historic Preservation Day, sponsored by, and this list is long, the Cortez Historic Preservation Board in cooperation with the Cortez Cultural Center, Montezuma County Historical Society, Cortez Public Arts Advisory Board, and the Cortez Retail Enhancement Association, and the Lore Foundation. The State Historic Preservation Office will be coming to Cortez on Friday, May 3rd to give 2 presentations about designating properties as historic and how to apply for tax credits that can come with that designation. Presentations for this will start at 10 a.m. and 3 p.m. on that Friday. They are free and open to the public and will be held at the Cortez Cultural Center at 25 North Market Street. One of the presentations will also be recorded for continuing education for property owners with historic or eligible historic properties. The City of Cortez will also be releasing the Historic Cortez Coloring Book in May. The coloring book is a project in partnership with the City of Cortez, the Lore Foundation, Cortez Retail Enhancement Association, and the City of Cortez Public Arts Advisory Committee and the Historic Preservation Board. The Cultural Center will also be hosting a community art showcase of all the submissions for the Historic Cortez Coloring Book. So this showcase will run during normal operating hours of the Cultural Center from Thursday, May 2nd through Saturday, May 4th. An artist reception will be held on Friday, May 3rd from 4:30 to 6 p.m. A formal recognition of the artist will take place at 5:30 p.m. Cortez, City Council, and the public are invited to attend. And I will just briefly pause and say that when we put out a call for local artists for this coloring book, we expected to get 10. We received, I think, close to 80 submissions from 29 local artists, and every single one of their submissions will be presented at that showcase. So it should be really cool. Stop by. Back to the memo. The historic coloring book will be available for purchase starting in May at the Cortez Cultural Center and the Montezuma Heritage Museum, and those proceeds will go directly to those two nonprofits. A digital version of the coloring book will be available for free to download at the city website. The City of Cortez and the Cortez Historic Preservation Board, last one I promise, are also developing a selfie scavenger hunt for the month of May. Participants who find the 5 locations in Cortez using historic photographs and take a selfie at each of those locations in modern day will be entered to win a prize. Selfies can be submitted on the city website or by using the hashtag #HistoryMysteryCortez or #HistoricCortez on Facebook and Instagram. For more information on the events for Historic Preservation Day, you can visit our website and navigate to the Historic Preservation Board. The Cortez Historic Preservation Board was originally formed in 1996 to protect historic signs on Main Street. The board advises City Council on matters pertaining to historic preservation. The board maintains a city register of historic structures, sites, districts, and signs. There are more than 50 commercial and residential properties within the city limits that are on the register. All of these can be found at the website. These do not include archaeological sites. Those are only properties in the city limits. These properties are eligible for state tax credits and for grants from the State Historical Tax Fund. And I believe you have the proclamation, so I think I'll let you guys read that. Or do I have the proclamation? I have the proclamation, and I'm going to walk it up to our esteemed mayor.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Is this the one that I can sign?
This is the one that you can sign.
Okay. No vote, yeah. All right. Proclamation for Historic Preservation Days. Whereas May is National Historic Preservation Month, and whereas History Colorado will present workshops on debunking the myths of historic preservation on May 3rd, and whereas the Artist Showcase for the Historic Cortez Coloring Book will be held on May 2nd through 4th, and whereas the Historic Cortez Coloring Book will be released digitally and in print in May, and whereas a selfie scavenger hunt for historic locations in Cortez will be held during the month of May, and whereas these events are sponsored by the City of Cortez, Cortez Historic Preservation Board, Cortez Public Arts Advisory Committee, the Cortez Cultural Center, the Montezuma County Historical Society, the Cortez Retail Enhancement Association, and the Lore Foundation. And whereas the City of Cortez recognizes the importance of keeping the history of Cortez and the surrounding area alive through education and cultural opportunities. Therefore, I, Mayor Rachel Medina of the City of Cortez, proclaim May 3rd through 4th, 2024, as Historic Preservation Days, and do hereby urge the citizens of this community to recognize and support the opportunities to learn more about the history of our community through various events held that day. Witness my hand this 23rd day of April 2024. All right. Thank you, Helen. Okay. We're going to move on to 4F on our agenda, our 2024 March financial statements presented by Kelly Koski, our finance director.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. First, I'd like to just welcome our new council members. Congratulations, and I look forward to working with each and every one of you. In the packet this evening, you would find the 2024 March financial statements. You'll notice that they are broken down by revenue and expense, and those are labeled at the top of each page, and they're also broken down by department. They are also columns that go across the page. So the very first says period actual. That is going to be for the month that is being presented. So in this case, that would be for March. The column next to that that says year-to-date actual is for the period through the month, so that in this case would actually be January through March. The next column is the budget that was approved for 2024. The next column is the amount that has been unexpended. And the final column is a percentage column. This will be, I think, very helpful for you as you're going through just making a quick check of, are things in line? Do we have some things that are a little out of whack? And for a convenient note, at the bottom of each page, it will tell you the percentage of the fiscal year that we've already gone through. So that's one quick and easy way just to check things over. We had a couple of items to note in our marketing department. The marketing department so far has only spent 6% of its total budget, and there's 25% of the fiscal year that's passed. There's only one position paid for out of that department, and at the time of this writing, it was open and unfilled. An update, in between that time, that position has been filled, and I got to meet them yesterday. They're on the job and ready to go.
Great.
You'll also notice that in the marketing department, there was a $10,000 expense that came out of the marketing line item. That is the city sponsorship for the third Thursday events, and those will continue throughout the summer. One other item is our health insurance fund. The city of Cortez is a self-insured health fund. There have been fewer claims than we expected, and the revenue is slightly higher than we expected. This results in a net revenue over expenditures of $315,666, and that is through March of 2024. Lastly, I'd just like to remind everyone that the financial statements are available online at the City of Cortez website. If you go to the finance department, there's a tab for financial transparency, and all of the city audits and financial statements are available there. Does anybody have any questions?
What happens with that revenue for the health insurance? Does that just roll into the next year, or?
If we get to the end of the year and there is a true net income, then it will actually stay with the self-insured health fund because it is separate from the general fund. So it's not absorbed back into any of the other enterprise funds.
Yeah, but like say then the next year there isn't a revenue, can that cover it?
Well, it would. The self-insured health fund, typically what we do at the end of the year, if there is a net revenue, a true net revenue, we'll take that money and put that in an investment fund. Currently, those investment funds are earning 5.5% interest. So it's a great place to have those. And then they need to be reappropriated, but they could be used in the following year.
Okay, yeah, so if we had a shortfall the next year, we could just use those funds from the investment and work on getting them out?
After we reappropriate those, yes.
Okay. Any questions from our fellow council members? Okay. Great, thank you, Kelly.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it. Okay, we're going to move on to 5 on our agenda, which is public hearings. So 5A is ordinance number 1326, series 2024, presented by our contract city planner, Nancy Dahl.
Madam Mayor, while we're waiting, just a reminder, this is a quasi-judicial hearing. So when you determine a motion and a vote, it should be based on solely the evidence and testimony presented at this public hearing and not anything you may have heard prior to the hearing.
Great.
Are we ready? Good evening. Welcome to the new council people. Apologize a little bit. I've got a pretty bad cold, and I'm hoping my voice will hold out for this. So Rachel's ready to jump in. This public hearing tonight is a request for a rezoning of 2 parcels, 0.66 acres total, located on an undeveloped portion of Driscoll Street. The request is to rezone from R2, which is residential multifamily, to MH, which is residential manufactured home. Those two zone districts honestly aren't super different as far as density or types of uses allowed. The major difference is that R2 does not allow manufactured homes, manufactured home parks, and manufactured home subdivisions. It does allow multifamily dwellings as permitted uses. Manufactured MH does allow those. And multifamily dwellings, though, although they're still allowed at the same densities, then become conditional. The request, I'll show you the parcels here, are currently owned by the Montezuma Housing Authority.
Hey, Nancy, sorry, I just want to interrupt you. Is there a way to get her presentation on the TV that we're looking at as well?
Wow.
Thank you. Thank you, Nancy.
And I should be using it.
You might be able to pull it up on your screens. We emailed it to you late this afternoon.
Here we go. So the circled in red here are the two parcels. Oh, my mouse. Are the two parcels in question that are requested to rezone. I want to explain a little bit about the colors on the map there. Those gold colors are currently zoned. This is my trick. I can't look at the mouse on my screen, so sorry, I'm awkward here. This golden color is the M8 zone now. The two parcels right there are currently R2, and in the blue, and all the parcels around them there are zoned R2 currently. Want to explain a little bit about the current access, if I can make this happen. Because Driscoll Street on the south end of these parcels has not been constructed, the way you access these parcels is to come in here, and then you can turn down either Alma and go straight down to the parcels right here, or you can curve around this way. I think the point I'm trying to make there is that the way you access these parcels now is entirely through M8 zoning, not the R2, which is undeveloped parcels to the south. I want to go over a little bit here. So there's a little bit more detail on the parcels themselves. They're split by access or an easement, but would be developed together. Most of the reason that the applicant has asked for this rezoning is that they are hoping to place one single manufactured home on the parcel. Even though it's zoned for significant more density, you can see over here on the right side, that blue is a floodway. So much of the parcel is not developed. It's probably not developable for significant density that it's zoned for. And the applicant's request is to simply put one single family home, one manufactured home on here, right in this location, similar to what's been developed around them. It will require a little bit of construction of Alma, which has never been fully exploited. All other utilities are in place for the parcel, so that's not really a concern. When you're looking at a rezoning, and I guess I'll talk through this a little bit more for our new council people, there's a number of criteria that the code requires you to look at. You don't need to meet all of those criteria, but a request should meet some of those criteria. The first criteria was the existing zone for the property adopted in error. So if that's a true statement, oftentimes that's a very easy reason to rezone. We don't really think that's the case in that's what happened here. Although we never did get the roads developed out like that. Number two is, has there been a change of character in the area? And again, I think what we're talking about here is, have other parcels changed zoning, new growth trends, deterioration. And in this case, I'm not really sure that, or we didn't find that that really has happened either. Number C is there a need for the proposed rezoning within the area or community? The question with that one is, I think our comprehensive plan, our recent housing studies have definitely demonstrated that there's a need for additional housing, especially at the lower end of the market rate, which is what this applicant is proposing to do. Next, are the proposed uses compatible with the surrounding area or uses? Would there be adverse impacts? And then in this case, given the location of the lots and how you access them, it does feel like this proposed use is entirely compatible with very similar uses being proposed. E, will there be benefits derived by the community or area by granting the proposed rezoning? The comments that we made on that is that we currently have an undeveloped piece, perhaps hard to develop piece of property. If this rezone occurs, it appears that it will be developed and brought into the tax rolls as a residential. Also provide a potential family with a lower market rate home. F is, are additional facilities required to serve the development? It is possible that there need and then we've got a condition on that. At the building permit stage, they would be required to complete that. Is the proposal in conformance with policies, intents, and requirements of the comprehensive plan? And again, there are numerous areas in the comprehensive plan that speak to housing and especially affordable housing. There are also numerous policies in the comprehensive plan that encourage the development of infill and vacant parcels. So we did feel like this does meet that. The last issue is, does the proposed change constitute spot zoning? And if necessary, we'll go to our attorney he's gotten really good at giving us a short explanation of spot zoning. But the idea here is that, is it a special, is it just a small portion, usually surrounded by not concurrent zoning, at the request of sort of a special grant of zoning? In this case, because all the parcels to the north and all the parcels that access the property are zoned the same as this, we did not feel like it was spot zoning. As far as process, the Planning Commission has held a hearing on this project on March 5th. They considered the request, took public comment, and they have recommended approval of the request. It was a mixed vote of 4-1. Staff is also recommending approval of the rezoning request, and with the findings that the property is adjacent to and access through neighborhoods developed and zoned the same MH. The community will benefit from the property by the development of a currently vacant parcel within city limits. Adequate facilities are available to be extended and serve development and that the proposal is in conformance with the policies, interests, and requirements of the Cortez. you have any questions.
I have a couple, Nancy. As I read through this over the weekend, I saw that the city engineer, Kevin Kistler, was also kind of concerned with that floodplain, and I think you answered that question. To me, it kind of begs the question whether or not there was any discussion of combining those two lots. Is there a purpose for I think it's lot 5, or the lot that's on the left, if it's in a floodplain and undevelopable?
That's a good observation. I don't think we go require it as part of the rezoning, but makes sense.
So they still could request that in the future? Okay.
If I could get you to clarify the difference between a manufactured home and a mobile home, I think there's still some people that are a little confused about that.
Well, I'm not sure I'm going to hold out with the voice. Mobile home's kind of an old term, and it refers to manufactured homes built before 1972 and not built to the HUD standards. So after 1972, basically every home developed or built in the nation are built to HUD standards and would meet the manufactured home standards. So the difference, you might be thinking about modular. A manufactured home can be either placed on blocks or placed on a foundation.
Could you put a trailer house in there?
That's an old term, but no, you couldn't take an old mobile home or trailer house that doesn't meet HUD standards on that property. You really couldn't anywhere new in the city, for that matter.
What I'm getting at, I'm part of that land use code. Now, I learned that the difference between a manufactured home and a mobile home is a mobile home has a VIN number. Would you be able to put a home on there with a VIN number?
I believe you could.
Okay.
I do not believe that. The applicant's here if you'd like to question him.
Sorry. I'd like to invite the applicant up if they're here.
Good evening, Casey Spitzer. Thanks for hearing me. Do you want to answer questions first, or do you want to know my intention with the property?
I think your intent of the property would be wonderful to hear.
Yeah, so my intent of the property is to put, I'm going to call it a double wide, which would fall in the manufactured home category. Comes in on wheels, is together. Kind of answer your question, or the way I look at manufactured versus modular. Modular homes come in on a truck. They're built in a factory. They don't have a metal frame and wheels under them, and a crane sets them on a permanent foundation. Manufactured can be rolled into the property, placed on a foundation with the axles removed. My intent with the property, mentioned this at the last time, is housing's an issue here. I think we can all agree. Interest rates are killing people. I don't know how young families are doing it. When you look at what's available, I am a real estate agent. When you look at what's available in the area, and I think of the young family that maybe wife's a teacher, husband's got a good job at Empire Electric, they can't afford housing in the area. A $300,000 house is going to cost them upwards of $2,500 a month. I don't know how they're doing it. So when I saw this, the intent was, I've been talking to plenty of manufactured home dealers. I believe you can get a property or get a house on this property and sell it for a price that is more affordable
a lot of other approaches for housing are thinking outside of the box and considering different ways to create housing out of different materials. And I think this is one that's, or an already established type of housing that is a lower cost. That doesn't necessarily mean that it just, I think we need to like reevaluate that bad connotation of it, because we have examples of good mobile or clean and
Okay. Still hanging in here. The next request here is a very simple one. It's a what we might call a lot consolidation. Our current codes call it a plat amendment. The request is from the Glenn Layton Family Trust. I know they're here if you have questions for them. They're simply asking to consolidate two parcels here. Both of them are oversized for the existing MH zoning. So lot 9 here is developed with a single family home. Lot 10 is currently vacant. They're hoping to consolidate the two into one so they can build an accessory structure on the portion of what is currently lot 10. Very simple request. Criteria for plat amendments. There are multiple criteria. Under criteria number 9, which allows you to amend a plat to relocate or vacate one or more lot lines between one or more adjacent lots in or parcels where the owners of all such property join in the application for the plat amendment. There's a limitation under that to make sure that the creation of the lot it meets the minimum lot area required in the underlying zone district. Obviously, it's a big lot to start with, and it's getting even larger. So the sole purpose is to vacate that existing lot line, create a new lot 10A. and that lot will exceed the minimum lot area. We've sent it out for agency comment. None of the agencies had any issue. There is a sanitation district easement that the sanitation district says as long as they abide by what they've done, submitted so far, there won't be any concerns or with conflicts with that existing easement. The properties are actually in an unusual place where for some reason the road changes from Andrew Lane to Madison Street. The GIS coordinator has suggested that they will keep the address of 40. Recommending approval. We have a condition that they meet any requirements of utility providers, and that's all. Do you have any questions?
No, just that I'd like to invite the applicant up if they'd like to share anything, or if not.
My name is Glenn Layton, and I live at 45 East Andrew Lane, and the lot next to me that I now have is really, it's not going to be able to be buildable for a house at this point. Future plans, probably just some kind of a storage under weather for a trailer and some things like that, maybe a garage. But, and just to keep it cleaned up. It's an odd-shaped piece of property. It really is. When I got to looking at it, and there was a reduction in the sanitation easement on that. Somehow it was originally a 20-foot easement, which is all they require. And whenever, somewhere through time, it ended up turning into a 30-foot easement, which was well beyond the halfway through the lot. So the sanitation was gracious enough to work with me and say, we don't need that much there. There is a main sewer line that runs on the north side of the property, and they've got a 20-foot there that runs to where they need it to be down there, which the old sewer plant's down below the hill. They were all good with reducing that easement to what they only actually needed, which was 20 feet. So that'll help me out a little bit. But it's just kind of cleaning some things up and
Okay. Great, thank you.
You bet.
Appreciate it. All right, do we have any questions from council, or?
Madam Mayor, I'd like to make a motion that City Council approve Resolution Number 7, Series 2024, a resolution approving the amended plat for lots 9 and 10, Sedona Estates Phase 1, creating Lot 10A with the condition that is stated in the resolution.
Second.
Motion made by Kiefhoffer and seconded by Sproul.
Dobry,
Aye.
Kiefhoffer,
Aye.
Yes.
Lewis,
Aye.
DeHaven, Randall,
Aye.
Medina.
Aye. All right, we're moving on to 7B on our agenda, resolution number 8, series 2024.
And this request is another request for a plat amendment. It uses a slightly different criteria, and I'll show you what's going on. This one's a little bit more unusual in that the amended plat request is coming to you per a stipulation agreement through the courts, requiring the parties to adjust lot lines. And if we can do this right, you can see right on this, what's going on is that the two lots down, the lots down here on addressed as South Broadway, currently owned by the Lindsay family, have improvements that were outside the lot line and encroaching onto the property owned by J4G Investments. So after going through a stipulation agreement, J4G has agreed to grant property to these other parcels that basically will cover their existing improvements. It also involves improving or widening the access easement a little bit here. So the plat is right here. I want to do something I don't normally do, but we had some last minute information added that there is a lien on the J4G property that may require the bank to sign off on the adjustment. It's very common for banks to be a signatory or lien holders to be a signatory to the plat. So I'd probably just recommend that we add a condition that if required, the bank be added as a signatory to this proposed plat. And then as far as the criteria that this one is under our code, there is criteria number 8, which is to relocate a lot line in order to deter an inadvertent encroachment of a building or improvement on the lot line or on an easement. So fits the bill exactly with that criteria with this request. And staff is recommending approval of the resolution to amend the plat for Lot 2 of the Gray 2 lot minor subdivision. Questions?
Nancy, I do have a question. Did you want to add a condition and amend the resolution that indicates that prior to recording of the plat, the bank will have to sign off on the plat amendment?
Yes.
Okay. And just for the council's perspective, this is done frequently because if you have a lien on property, and in this case, the size of the property, which is the collateral for the lien or the loan, being reduced, and the bank wants to ensure that their collateral isn't reduced so far that it's under collateralized. And this is only, I think, total roughly a half an acre that is being, the collateral is being reduced in size, and I would expect that it won't be an issue, but the bank has indicated that they want to reappraise the collateral to ensure their loan-to-value ratios are still within their guidelines.
Is this something we could table until that is completed?
Well, I wouldn't table. If you can continue it to a date certain. If you table it, then you have to re-advertise and everything. But if you continue it to a date certain and specify that date, then you wouldn't have to do any re-advertising. You could also, if your decision is to approve the plat and approve the resolution with that added condition that the bank would sign off on the plat.
Or perhaps a simpler amendment, I think, to amend condition 1 to add lien holders in that list that says must be satisfied as outlined. We could do that, Pat?
Yes, that would work.
I think I have language. Can I run it by you?
Sure.
Okay. So I would make a motion, City Council approve Resolution Number 8, Series 2024, resolution approving the amended plat for Lot 2 of the Gray 2 Lot Minor Subdivision Boundary Agreement and quitclaim deed with the conditions stated in the resolution, and if needed, the bank become a signatory of the plat adjustment prior to recording the plat.
I think that would work.
Second.
Okay.
All right, motion made by Kiefhofer and seconded by Dobry.
Call good.
Spruill,
Yes.
Randall,
Aye.
Lewis,
Aye.
Dobry,
Aye.
Kiefhofer,
Aye.
Haven,
Aye.
Medina.
Aye. All right, thank you, Nancy. Okay, we're gonna move on to 7C. Okay, hold on. there's just a duplicate, yeah. Okay, 7C on our agenda, Four Corners Resilient Food System Infrastructure Grant.
Madam Mayor, I should probably recuse myself from this discussion, even though it's just a letter of support. I've been selling, my business has been selling at the Four Corners Food Coalition warehouse since November, and I may actually use the kitchen that they're requesting in the future.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Kefauver.
Shall I go ahead?
We'll wait till he gets out the door. Okay.
Okay. Greetings, Mayor and Council. I'm presenting to you tonight a potential letter of support for a grant that's being applied for by the Four Corners Food Coalition. It's for the Resilient Food System Infrastructure Grant to finish the commercial kitchen in the warehouse at 30 North Beach Street. The Four Corners Food Coalition completed phase 1 of the grant application process and is seeking letters of support for their final application, which is due by the end of the day on May 1st. The commercial kitchen is specifically intended to increase value-added production for farmers and small business owners in the Cortez area. The kitchen will include equipment like a commercial dehydrator, corn thresher, grain mill, and large walk-in refrigerator to support farmers and business owners in making value-added products. Just a little background on the Four Corners Food Coalition. It's a 501c3 nonprofit. Its main goal is building sustainable and accessible food systems in the Four Corners area. In addition to advocacy and building programs such as this commercial kitchen would provide, the organization conducts leadership development with young and aspiring food system works, distributes food, and holds educational events and workshops. Sorry, I think that was missing a word there. As stated in the letter of support, if awarded, this grant would build food storage and processing capacity in Southwest Colorado and support the economic and agricultural vitality of the region. Did you have any questions?
This just seems like an awesome opportunity to add value to our agricultural community and economy.
Yeah, I feel like this is something they've been talking about for a long time, so I'm excited to see it moving forward. So, I move that City Council authorize the mayor to sign the letter of support for the Four Corners Food Coalition Resilient Food System Infrastructure Grant application.
Second.
Motion made by DeHaven and seconded by Sproul.
Randall.
Aye.
Dobry.
Aye.
DeHaven.
Aye.
Rule.
Yes.
Lewis.
Aye.
Medina.
Aye. Thank you, Rachel.
Do you have a copy of up there of the one to sign, or do you want this one?
I don't, so.
I'll bring it.
Thank you. Okay. All right, we'll move on to D on our agenda. 7D is award the thermal pool covers bid for the Cortez Outdoor Municipal Pool, presented by Creighton Wright, our Parks and Recreation Director.
Good evening again, Madam Mayor, members of the council. So as a part of my report, I'll do a quick overview of our Cortez Outdoor Municipal Pool, why the pool blankets are important, current status of our blankets and the reels, point your attention to the bid just quickly, and then walk through the evaluation and why we're recommending the award that we are. So to begin with, the Cortez Outdoor Municipal Pool is a wonderful place in the summer. It's a nice place to cool down when it's really, really hot out here. It's affordable and a fun place to cool down. And fully staff. We're open from 6:30 in the morning till 7 p.m. Really 7 days a week during the summer if we can get enough staff. We employ as many as 30 lifeguards, swim aides, cashiers, and managers to operate. Much of our Parks and Recreation infrastructure is in the process of being updated, repaired, and replaced. The Cortez Outdoor Municipal Pool is no different. We've made several updates and renovations in the last couple of years. Some of those include replacing the splash pad controller, as it was not functioning for 2 years. Replacing the starting blocks, which we did in partnership with the Cortez Water Dragon swim team. Replacing the pool heater is just wrapping up right now. We replaced the locker room water heaters this winter. Resurfacing the water slide and repairing the mechanical building pool roof is scheduled for later this year. And what we're talking about here tonight is replacing our thermal blankets and associated reels that hold them when they're not on the pool. The recent pool heater replacement increased our energy efficiency from in the neighborhood of mid-60s to 70% up to 82 to 84%. The greatest energy loss in a pool is through evaporation. You lose both heat and water through evaporation. According to the Department of Energy, currently the most effective method for controlling evaporation is to cover the pool. Covering the pool decreases heating costs and our water needs. Current blankets are about 8 years old and of lower quality. They're currently starting to separate. They're starting to come apart. They absorb water, which makes them really heavy and hard to get out of the water. The reels are more than 30 years old. We can't actually figure out exactly how old they are because they are so old that nobody that is still around knows when they're bought. The expected lifespan of the reels is 20 years, and the expected lifespan of covers is 10 years old. Covers are not going to make it to 10 years. Our Parks and Rec team developed a minimum specification for the thermal blankets. And that is attached to the staff report. One of the really important things that we stressed through that bid process or through the specifications is that we wanted to have a 5-year warranty, and that will be important here in a second. So now, as far as the bids, we put the specs together. Our General Services Department put a bid packet out, and we received 5 bids, although only one of those bids actually met our specifications. The Recreonics bid exceeded specifications. Recreonics was the only vendor that actually that bid 3 reels rather than 2, which actually through the bid process kind of surprised us. And there is a description or a reasoning. We asked the vendor why they bid what they did, and there's a paragraph in there that came directly from one of the salespeople that basically, in summary, says that the way that they bid it is a safer way of pulling pool covers off of the pool. It basically, having more weight on the reels makes it more difficult for staff, in which they run the risk of becoming injured. My kids are swimmers, and I actually know of an adult person who was pulling the reels off in this way and actually tore their bicep. So, I mean, it is a real thing that happens. So I'm not going to read what the salesman said, but it made a lot of sense to us. The other 4 bids, other than the Recreonics bid, did not meet our specifications. In general, they're a lower quality product. Within the memo, it goes into depth as to how and why they're a lower quality product. So with that, a quick summary on the actual bids that were received. Recreonics bid $60,848.89. Again, that paragraph up above explains that they bid 3 reels rather than 2 because they end up being safer, and we have only 1 mat or 1 blanket on a reel as opposed to 2 the way the other companies were proposing it. The brand name is ThermGuard. The warranty, this is the part that I really want to stress. We have a 100% warranty for the first 4 years. Year 5, it drops down to 50%. It is by far the best warranty of all of them. And the last item we asked for in the specifications that the reel, the mechanism for putting the mats on, is a wheel as opposed to a crank. And the reason for that is the crank, you have a heck of a lot more stress and pushing like this in order to get the mat started on the reel, as opposed to a wheel where you're kind of pulling down. It's a much easier movement on the body. And that was something we specifically wanted out of the reels, and Recreonics was the only one that bid a reel with a wheel on it. The other bids that were received were Progressive Commercial Aquatics, $56,907.16. As I mentioned, it's a lesser quality product. It doesn't meet specification. Actually, the next three were all the same product or same type of blanket, and they all have the same warranty, which is first 3 years 100%, fourth year 40%, and the fifth year was 30%. And then the last bid we received was an alternate bid from Marina Pool Spa Patio, in which they bid another product altogether, which was even not as good a quality as the other two. So while Recreonics bid is the most expensive, it's the only bid that meets, and actually the salesman recommending the third reel exceeds our specifications in the bid documents. The warranty that's provided by the ThermGuard blankets reinforces that the product is a superior product with 100% warranty through the fourth year and 50% in the fifth. All other products didn't have as good a warranty. So with that, Council, I'm making the recommendation that we award the thermal pool blanket bid to Recreonics in the amount of $60,848.48. One important note I just skipped over, I apologize. The fiscal impact, we actually budgeted for this replacement at $80,000, so even Recreonics as the highest bid still comes in under budget. So with that, I'll take any questions that you may have on this item.
I have no questions, just a comment. I'm really pleased to see that we received 5 bids on this, Creighton, and that the warranty on your selection here is really superior compared to the others, and it's approximately $19,000 under budget, so good work on that.
Yeah, I really appreciate this explanation, Creighton, with the discrepancy in bids that we received. You did a good job of using your expertise and explaining the pool world to us, and I know your kids are swimmers, and I also really appreciate you taking employee safety and well-being as like a top concern in the products that you in the long run. Having accidents and things like that are far more expensive than buying a slightly higher quality product.
Do you know how much a reel cost? Hand crank.
I can't say that I do. I don't
Ballpark,
know.
can you give an idea?
So you're talking about just the wheel as opposed
Just
to
the wheel, just the wheel.
My guess is a couple $100.
Okay, and that's to reel the whole thing in is a couple $100.
Right, correct.
Okay, okay.
I think also, even though this is a little more expensive up front, it like has the potential to save us more money in the long run.
And speaking of that, Madam Mayor, you jogged my memory. One other thing that Recreonics included in their bid that the others didn't is a cover. These pool blankets sit out on the deck all winter long, so having a cover over the top of them to prevent UV degradation is really important. That wasn't something we put in the bid, but they included it.
Wow. Where are they based out of?
I'm not entirely sure.
Okay.
I don't know.
Cool.
I move that City Council award the thermal pool blanket bid to Reconomics for $60,848.48.
Second.
Motion made by DeHaven and seconded by Lewis.
Madam Mayor, just a comment. It's a nominal difference, but the bid was for $60,848.89. And the motion and the staff recommendation was to approve $60,848.48. So maybe, Creighton, if you could clarify, is it 89 or 48?
I'm sure you are correct, Mr. Coleman.
Probably 89, okay.
89.
Let's go with the higher one. Okay, I move that city council award the thermal pool blanket bed to Reconomics for $60,848.89.
Second.
All right, motion made by DeHaven and seconded by Lewis.
DeHaven,
Aye.
Kiefhoffer,
Aye.
Rule,
Yes.
Dobry,
Aye.
Lewis,
Aye.
Randall,
Aye.
Medina.
Aye.
Thank you, Council.
Thank you, Creighton. Okay, we're gonna move on to 7E on the agenda, a transfer of location of a retail marijuana store for Mountain Annie's LLC, presented by Linda Smith.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. Tonight before you is a request from Mountain Annie's LLC. The owner is Clifton Randy Nye. We call his name is Randy. That's what he goes by. Has filed an application for a transfer of a location for Mountain Annie's LLC. They're currently located at 310 East Main Street, and they would like to move to 439 East Main Street in Cortez. This is a quasi-judicial item, so that information is all that I'm sharing tonight, but we will have more information for you at the public hearing, which staff is requesting be set for May 14th, 2024.
Great.
Yeah, Mayor and Council, since this has been put on the agenda, some additional information has been found out, all of which that will need to be weighed by the council, and we will make sure that we provide that in a thorough packet by next meeting.
Great. Do we have a motion to set the public hearing?
Madam Mayor, I'd like to make a motion that City Council vote to set a public hearing date of May 14th, 2024 to consider the application for a transfer of location of a retail marijuana store for Mountain Annie's LLC, which is currently located at 310 East Main Street, to be relocated to 439 East Main Street, Cortez, Colorado.
Second.
Lewis?
Oh,
Aye.
Sorry.
no, go ahead.
Go ahead. Lewis?
Aye.
DeHaven?
Aye.
Randall?
Aye.
Kiefhoffer?
Aye.
Rule?
Yes.
Dobry?
Aye.
Medina. Sorry about that, Rachel.
Aye, that's okay. Okay, we'll move on to 7F on our agenda. CML Annual Conference.
Yes, good evening, Mayor. Whoops. Turn it on here. Good evening, Mayor and Council. Yeah, it's time to select the members who will be going to the 2024 CML Conference this year. The conference is being held in Loveland, Colorado. The first day of the conference is actually Wednesday, June 19th, and that ends on Friday, June 21st. This last year, we had 4 members go, and we're requesting the council select up to 3 members because that's really what our budget will allow. With that, and I'm not trying to sway council one way or another, but I was going to suggest to council that you select Mayor Medina one more time to go to that. The main reason is she has become quite a presence with CML. She, for the last 2 years, has been asked to participate in one way or another. Last year, she was actually asked to sit on a mayor's panel in a general session. So it would be a good thought there to do that since she's been such a strong representative. Other than that, I submit it to council for a decision.
Well, and I'm definitely interested in going, but want to hear from others.
I am not available to go, so I will take myself.
We're limited because of budgeting for only 3 of us to go.
Correct, yeah, we're budgeting for about 3.
Okay, I am available and more than honored to go unless the new council members would like to go. I went last year, so I've been, and if they want to go, I would certainly step back and let them go.
I would love to go. Unfortunately, I'm out of town that week.
Okay. April?
I would be willing and eager to go, if possible.
Okay.
I would not like to go. The carrots were not cooked properly last year.
That's disappointing, sir. I already wrote your name down.
No, I've gone in the past, and I think if someone else would like to go, they are more than welcome.
So if I am understanding council correctly, it would be Mayor Medina, Councilmember Dennis Spruill, and Councilmember Bill Lewis. April Randall. Okay, thank you, council.
Awesome.
We'll be in touch.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, well then we're gonna move on to 8 on our agenda, draft resolution / ordinances. We have none. So then 9 on our agenda is city attorney report.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just want to welcome the 2 new council members and let you know that I look forward to working with you. And if you have questions or comments for me, my door is always open, and feel free to contact me. You will notice during council meetings, I frequently do not have a city attorney's report, and primarily that's because most of what I would report on tends to be attorney-client privileged communications that would not be appropriate for mentioning in the public. But when I do have something that is appropriate for public consumption, I will certainly let you know. But in the meantime, feel free to stop in and say hello and ask questions. And I think we're going to do some trainings through CIRSA and through my office as well. So hopefully we'll keep you on the straight and narrow, and I look forward to working with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Pat. All right, we'll move on to 10 on our agenda, city manager report.
Yeah, good evening again, Mayor and Council. I have several items this evening. First was that I was able to attend the annual Colorado City County Management Association conference this past week in Glenwood Springs. There were many presentations and sessions on different aspects of city management and what's occurring in the state, as well as some leadership presentations. I was contacted prior to the conference, and I was asked to give another presentation on leadership and teamwork this year, and I was also flattered to be asked to participate on a panel during the Art of Management section. Number 2, I'd like to congratulate our newly elected and re-elected city council members and welcome our 2 new council members, Bill Lewis and Dr. April Randall. Council oversees several boards and commissions for the city, and an ex officio member from the city council is appointed to each one of those. Information will be sent out to you all regarding the boards and commissions for the city, so we can, in a council session, decide who will be appointed to those for the ensuing year. Also, you may have noticed that several of us are wearing around ID badges now. It's really time for us as a city to start improving our safety and security for our staff members and visitors. We'll begin transitioning to a program where employees and visitors will be required to be readily identifiable while in city facilities or on official business within the community by prominently displaying either an official City of Cortez identification badge, a uniform of some sort, and so on. Also, our senior staff retreat that was held on April 11th was a very successful event. We engaged in leadership training as well as developed suggestions for council consider for your future priorities, much like we did last year. These will be shared and discussed with the council at the council retreat that is slated for Saturday, May 18th, 2024 in this building. And that concludes my report, pending any questions.
Great. Thank you. Okay, we're going to move on to 11 on the agenda is the city council committee reports. So I'll start with, thank you, Rachel. The mayor's report on the workshop. So we, the 2 years is up for, and sorry, Jeremy, if I butcher this, but our airline bid for servicing our airport. So we heard from a new company, I've already forgotten, South Advance. Okay. And then Denver Air Connection, which has been serving us for the last 2 years. So a public comment is open for the next week or two until May 1st. So we just want to hear from the community, make sure we hear that, and then we will give our city council will give a recommendation, but the DOT is the ultimate decider on who will continue to serve our airport. And then we heard from our Parks and Recreation department. They are forming a subcommittee for a forestry subcommittee, and then a recreation user group. And sorry, Creighton, if I butchered that too. Rec Center user group. So I apologize, I'm tired. But yeah, so we have 2 new volunteer groups around Parks and Recreation, and so I encourage anyone in the community that is interested in either our urban forest or in our rec user group to get involved and let their interest known. And then lastly, we heard from Public Works about the turf replacement program. So that is active, and you can pick up applications at City Hall, and then there will be access to an application online. And that is, we have funding to help offset the cost of replacing turf and getting more native plants and just more water efficient yards in our community. All right, and then we'll move on to other board reports. I guess we'll start with Robert.
I just would like to remind the community of Cortez Historic Preservation Days, which is Friday, May 3rd and Saturday, May 4th. There will be an event at there will be a debunking the myths of historic preservation event on Friday, May 3rd at both 10 a.m. and 3 p.m. at the Cortez Cultural Center. And then the Historic Cortez Coloring Book, all of the artwork, both that's in the coloring book and everything that was submitted, will be on view Thursday, May 2nd through Saturday, May 4th, also at the Cortez Cultural Center. And I'd just like to thank the Historic Preservation Board for all the work that they put into that, as well as city staff. I think it'll be a really great event for the community.
All right, and I'm just going to end up repeating a lot of the things that Robert said, but this is for the Arts Committee perspective, since David was our representative of that board, and since his term is up, I'll share on his behalf. So the Historic Cortez Coloring Book, the project was in partnership with the Historic Preservation Board, the Lore Foundation, Cortez Retail Enhancement Association, and the City of Cortez staff in honor of Historic Preservation Month. A digital coloring book will be available for download for free on the city website starting in May. A printable version will be available for purchase starting in mid-May. The pieces submitted for the book will be on display at the Cortez Cultural Center from from Thursday, May 2nd to Saturday, May 4th, and an artist reception on Friday, May 3rd from 4:30 to 6 p.m. And just a reminder that this Friday is our first Friday, so that's usually a big event that the Cortez Retail Enhancement Association kind of puts on and promotes downtown. And then more information can be found on our website. And then there's also a 81321 launch grant. It's a creative grant program through the Lore Foundation. The Arts Committee is acting as an advisee to the Lore Foundation and funds this grant funds community art and creative projects in Cortez. Applications for the next round of funding are due July 1st. More information can be found at www.81321launch.com. All right, Matt, do you have a? Okay.
Golf Advisory Board meeting at 7 o'clock Friday morning.
Okay, did those get moved as well? The golf?
We're doing them every Friday at 7 now.
Okay.
Or not every Friday. Once a month.
Okay, on Fridays instead of Wednesdays? Okay, great, thank you.
At the end of last month, I was able to attend the area-wide planning study group for the South Broadway corridor. And I just wanted to remind the public and council that there is a survey out right now that you can find on the city's social media or on our website. It takes less than 5 minutes. I did it this afternoon, very quick, very painless, and you can put in your comments and kind of direct the vision of what you think South Broadway will be. And it just was a really productive listening group. There's a pretty diverse group of people, from residents to business owners to people that just use the corridor involved in the working group. So I'm excited where that goes.
Great, thank you. All right, then we'll move on to 12 on our agenda, other items of business, executive session.
I move that City Council go into executive session for two purposes, or two executive sessions. One, discussing the possible acquisition or purchase of real property by the city pursuant to CRS Section 24-6-4-4024A, and determining positions relative to matters that may be subject to negotiations, developing strategy for negotiations, and/or instructing negotiators concerning the possible acquisition or purchase of real property by the city pursuant to CRS Section 24-6-4024E, and also a second executive session instructing negotiators concerning the possible transfer of city investments from one banking entity to another banking entity pursuant to CRS Section 24-6-4024E.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion made by Dobry and seconded by
DeHaven,
Aye.
Rule,
Yes.
Dobry,
Aye.
Lewis,
Aye.
Kiefhoffer,
Aye.
Randall,
Aye.
Medina.
Aye. All right. All right. All right, it is still April 23rd, 2024, and the time is 9:39 p.m. The executive session has concluded and council has reconvened into open session. Those persons participating in the executive session were myself, Mayor Rachel Medina, and City Council members Lydia DeHaven, Matthew Kiefhofer, Dennis Sproul, Robert Dobry, April Randall, and Bill Lewis, as well as Kelly Koski, our Finance Director, City Manager Drew Sanders, and City Attorney Patrick Coleman. No adoption of any proposed policy, position, resolution, rule, regulation, or formal action occurred during the executive session. If any member of council or a member of the public believes that the subject matter of the executive session was not statutorily authorized or the discussions that occur in an executive session strayed away from the announced subject matter, please speak up now. Seeing none, we will move on to agenda item 13, public participation. Seeing none in the audience, we will ask for a motion to adjourn.
Madam Mayor, I move that we adjourn.
Second?
Motion made by Dobry and seconded by Lewis.
Dobry,
Aye.
Randall,
Aye.
DeHaven,
Aye.
Lewis,
Aye.
Rule,
Yes.
Puffer.
Aye.
Aye. All right, thank you.